All right, everybody, how's it going? We're going to do a quick exercise on grayscale. What is a grayscale? It's a range of gray shades from white to black. Okay, so it makes things look 3D once you apply this to an object. And I'm going to use my eraser to touch that up. Okay, much better. Very good. We got our sections here, just like that one. You can make extra sections if you want, but I'm just going to do this one. All right, so in this exercise of grayscale shading, you need to know that the harder you use pressure on your pencil, the darker the value gets. Okay, so one more time. Grayscale shading, the harder you use pressure on your pencil, the darker the value gets. And then the less pressure you put on your pencil, the lighter the value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start dark here and then move all the way to the right until this is completely white. Okay. So remember, adding more pressure on the pencil, pressing it down against the paper, starts to look darker. Okay. Once we get on this side, we're going to like soften it up, barely touching it, barely touching it. Okay. Remember, the HB pencil is like a #2 pencil. So you can actually press it really hard here if you have one of those. If you know, in case you don't have one of these sets here, use a regular #2 pencil. You just make sure that you press hard. Okay, just like this. Okay. However, since I have my awesome pencil set, I'm going to choose one of the B pencils. I'll go ahead and choose maybe a 5B, and I'll show you the difference. All right, see, I'm pressing hard on the paper. You see that? And I can go back, give it one more layer of graphite until it is completely covered. Look at that. And remember, here's a tip. Make sure that you don't shade like this. Shade like this. See, grab your pencil this way, turn your pencil to the side like that, and then start shading. Okay? If it's not covered on the first try, put more graphite on top of that. Put many layers until it's covered and very dark. And look at that. I'm putting more pressure and it gets even darker. Look at that. Very good. So remember, look at, see? This is just a better, more refined version of that. All right, next up. I'm going to take that same pencil, the B pencil. I'm going to start layering here my graphite. Okay, so that's my first layer. Very good. Remember, turn it to the side. All right. And then next, I might go here, but you know what? This one still looks a little bit light to me. If I go back to my examples, it actually looks a little bit darker. Okay, so I'm going to add another layer of that graphite. Remember not to put too much pressure like before, because we want to be careful and not make it exactly like this. The value of this one should be darker than this one. Okay, if it looks exactly the same, what can we do? We can take our trusty eraser, erase some of it, and sort of start all over again. Remember, you don't want to erase too much. It starts to put wrinkles on the paper. So try to be careful, especially with pencil. Okay, so that one looks a little bit lighter than that one. Maybe I can darken that up. Okay, Yes, it does look a little lighter. Here, I'm going to still use my B pencil. Let's see, maybe we can switch to a 3B. Yeah, let's switch to a 3B there. And this time, look, remember, turn it to the side. I'm going to go light first, and then I'll put another layer on top to darken it up. You see that? Looks pretty good. Okay, that looks more like a middle gray. So we got black, a dark gray, sort of like a mid-tone middle gray here. Good. All right. Then after that, I'm going to go one more. This time I'm going to switch to the H pencils. Which one can I get? I can get a B or an HB. Let's go with an HB. Okay. HB. All right. And then here starts to get even lighter. Okay. I probably won't put as many layers as before. Remember, turn it to the side. And shade softly. It actually looks better if you shade softly. I'd say I go a little bit darker, so I'm going to put one more layer. Not too much. I gotta be careful. I don't want it to look exactly like this one. Okay. So that one does look a little bit lighter than that one. Maybe I can darken that up just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. You see that? It looks gradient from dark to light. This is the grayscale. Okay. This is our range of grays. Now, with the H pencil, I'm going to go even lighter. But you know what? I think I'm going to go and pick an H pencil. An H pencil. I could do 2H, but I'll do an H pencil so you can see on the camera. Let's lower this down a little bit so you can get a better view. Good, and you can even see some of these markers here. We got HB, 2B, 8B, 7, 6, 4, 2H. Okay, you see the difference. Dark, and then it gets lighter here. All right, let's go to this one. Remember that this last square, we're going to leave it completely blank, white. Okay, so I'm not going to touch this one. That means that this one is going to be very light, very light. So I'm going to take my H pencil and I'm going to shade lightly like this, like chicken scratches. Chicken scratches all over my paper. There you go. Look at that, barely touching it. See, I'm barely touching it. Putting less pressure. See that? It's like I'm lifting the pencil. You lift the pencil, maybe darken it a little bit. Go back, but do not put too many layers on this one because this is supposed to be close to white. Okay, so you don't want to go too dark. Okay, I think I'll leave it like that. See, what do you guys think? Cool, huh? All right. Next up, a couple little tricks that I want to show you. Remember, for this exercise, you can use a regular piece of paper or a sketch pad. Got pencils here, erasers, and we have a thing here that I call, well, that is called a shading stump. Okay, they have different names, tortillons or shading stumps, whatever it's called. These is basically like a piece of paper rolled up like a pencil. Uh, and what you can do is that you can soften your shading so it doesn't look too scratchy. So I can go like this. And don't put too much pressure. Remember, you want to keep this one lighter. I'm not touching that one at all. It looks much nicer. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to blend it. Looking good. All right. Very nice. I'll switch to this one here. And look what happens. It sort of makes it almost fuzzy. Okay? Try not to overdo on the fuzziness. Some people like to overdo it. Just put a little bit. It's like giving one layer, one coat of that. Here, I'm going to switch it to this side. Soften that up. Doesn't look like TV fuzz anymore. You know, you ever seen TV fuzz in those old TVs and it goes zzz. Okay, so there we go. You can see that. And then finally this one. I'm going to smooth this out. Smooth this out. And look at that. Very nice gradient. It goes smoothly from dark to light. Okay. If you don't have any of these things here, these shading stumps, you can use a couple things like your finger. Okay. So if I have some graphite here, look at this. I can take my finger and spread it. However, it's going to get dirty. So what you can also do is take a piece of tissue or paper towel and you can add your graphite pencil there and use that to blend. Okay, don't overdo it, but just put a little bit. Okay, see that? Very nice. Okay, so now we did our grayscale exercise. Go ahead and try it on your own, and you will be needing this to add to your drawings to make them more 3D. Have fun, everybody.